come to lie in the pelvis. So we have to restore the normal anatomy to maintain the bladder, neck, and proximal urethra as intra-abdominal structures and to increase the functional urethral length. Then strengthening the support of bladder, neck, and proximal urethra. This will prevent the funneling of the vesico-urethral junction in response to raised intravesical pressure. So the objectives of surgery are to elevate the bladder neck so that it lies within the abdominal pressure zone, to support the vesico-urethral junction, and to prevent its funneling in response to raised intravesical pressure. So surgery can be done abdominally when we can do the elevation of bladder neck, or vaginally, that is called anterior colporrhaphy, or combined abdominal and vaginal. No single procedure can be ideal for all women. All patients must be reviewed on the basis of her clinical presentation and urodynamic features. I have told you the investigations, video urodynamic studies in the previous class. So first surgery I am going to tell you is cholecystouretroplasty. This is done quite commonly along with the surgery for the prolapse. Usually in cases of prolapse, stress incontinence is there, and when we do the surgery for prolapse, we do the callus repair along with that whenever there is stress incontinence. So we expose the urethra and the bladder neck vaginally. Then we plicate the pubocervical fascia using the zero catgut or vicryl along the proximal urethra and bladder neck. When we plicate the pubocervical fascia over the proximal urethra and bladder neck, it will strengthen the urethral pressure and assist the elevation of bladder neck. So, what are the advantages of callus repair? It is a simple procedure, less time consuming, correction of coexistent cystocele. So we mainly usually do not do alone this callus repair. We usually do when we do the surgery for the prolapse and cystocele repair. What we say is anterior colporrhaphy. We do the callus repair along with that, and we post-operatively we put the Foley catheter for at least 5 days. Disadvantages: long-term success rate is low, that is only 50 to 60%. Then retropubic cystourethropexy. This is also known as colpo suspension. Colpo word is for vagina. Then what is the principle behind this is to restore the normal anatomy, that is elevation of the uretrovesical junction, and prevent the hypermobility of bladder neck. Now the long-term success rate is only 80 to 90%. It is performed suprapubically to reach the space of Retzius. Retzius space is where behind the pubic symphysis, that is between the pubic symphysis and the bladder. So it is performed suprapubically. We give incision abdominally and we reach the space of Retzius. One operation is the Birch colpo suspension. This is the gold standard for genuine stress incontinence. It is done abdominally. Then endopelvic fascia or end of the lateral vaginal fornix is sutured through the ipsilateral iliopectineal ligament, that is the Cooper's ligament, on both the sides. Then MMK operation. In this, This is the Marshall Marchetti Krantz operation. In this, the paraurethral and the paravesical endopelvic fascia, these are stitched to the periosteum at the back of the pubic symphysis. So in this, it is stitched to the periosteum of the bone. Complications of both these operations can be hemorrhage during the dissection of the space, urethra and bladder neck injury due to injudicious placement of sutures through them. Then in MMK, there can be osteitis pubis, there can be voiding difficulty, there can be detrusor instability, then anterocele formation can be there, vesicovaginal fistula, then failure and recurrence is there. So these are the various complications: hemorrhage during dissection of the space, urethra and bladder neck injury while taking sutures, then osteitis pubis in MMK, voiding difficulty, detrusor instability, then anterocele formation, fistula formation, vesicovaginal. There can be failure, there can be recurrence. So then the third operation in the colpos suspension is endoscopic bladder neck suspension. Its modification can be Praera, Reg and Stemme. This suspends, in this what we do is we suspend the paraurethral and the paravesical tissue on either side of the bladder neck to the rectus sheath. Long-term success rate is only 50%. Then comes the mid-urethral tape procedures. These are the tension-free mid-urethral tape procedures. One is the TVT and one is the TOT. TVT is the tension-free vaginal tape. It is derived by Petros and Unstem. A Marlex or Gore-Tex tape is passed vaginally in a U-shaped manner like a hammock under the mid-urethra to either side with specially designed needles. So specially designed needles along with the tape attached is available in the market with the name TVT, and the needles are passed along the back of the pubic bone to the skin incision on either side of the midline, and this will support the mid urethra in the form of hammock in the U shape. And then cystoscopy is done at the end, and tape is not sutured to any structure, it is tension free. So TVT increases the urethral coaptation by kinking the urethra during increased intra-abdominal pressure. So complications can be, there can be injury to the bladder, there can be formation of retropubic hematoma or sling erosion, means mesh erosion can be there, or overactive bladder. In overactive bladder, patient will have urge incontinence. So the success rate is 80 to 90% at 3 years. Then comes the TOT procedure. TOT means transobturator tape. This is minimally invasive designed by Delorme. A 2 centimeter incision is made in the vagina over the mid-urethra, and a tunnel is created by blunt dissection out to the obturator foramen on either side. A polypropylene tape, this is also available as TOT needles, and a trocar is available with the tape attached to it. A polypropylene tape is fed through the trocar, passes through the thigh fold, through the obturator foramen from outside to inside along the tunnel, and it is finally brought out through the vaginal incision. The same procedure is repeated on the other side. Then the tape is left tension free under the mid urethra and it acts as a hammock supporting the urethra. And in this, there is no need to perform cystoscopy. The same procedure can be performed from inside to outside. In TOT, we have passed the trocar from outside to inside, from through the obturator foramen towards the incision we have given in the vagina to expose the mid urethra to there. So in TOT, we have performed from outside to inside. But if we are performing the same procedure can be performed from inside to outside. So the complications can be post-operative delayed voiding, urinary retention, there can be infection, and the delayed complication can be mesh erosion. Then there comes the sling procedures. They are not the primary procedures. They are done whenever there is failed surgery or there is reduced vaginal capacity and mobility. The procedures work by compressing the urethra at the uretrovesical junction. The material used for sling are organic material like the rectus sheath. In this, that is known as Eldridge procedure when we use the rectus sheath for the sling, or facial latex can be used. Then inorganic materials like Silastic, Marlex, Gore-Tex. Then combined approach can be done. It can be done vaginally or abdominally. In this, the sling is passed around the bladder neck and is fixed to the rectus sheath to act as hammock and provide support to the bladder neck and the proximal urethra. Success rate is 70%. Disadvantages can be voiding difficulties, detrusor instability, and the sling erosion can be there. So the procedures we have done are there. We can do Kelly's repair, then we can do colpo suspension. In there, if there is Butch colpo suspension, MMK or endoscopic procedure we can do. Then mid-urethral tape procedures. In this, there are TVT and TOT, and then sling operations. Sling operations are not the primary procedures, but they are mainly used for failed surgeries. Then urethral bulking agents can be used. Women with intrinsic sphincter deficiency are treated with these urethral bulking agents. What bulking agents we can use are bovine collagen, Teflon, calcium hydroxyapatite, or polyacrylic hydrogel. They are injected transurethral or periurethral under cystoscopic guidance. These agents work with an obstructive effect at the level of bladder neck. Then salvage procedures are also used when other procedures are failed. We can do implantation of artificial sphincter or urinary diversion can be done. Now, something about the urge incontinence. What is urge incontinence? Urge incontinence when the patient has urge to pass urine, um, but uh, it can be motor urge incontinence or sensory urge incontinence. Motor urge incontinence is due to detrusor instability, or you can say overactive bladder. And sensory in urge incontinence, then when the patient has the urge to pass urine, and before the patient reaches the washroom, he there is a leakage of urine. So that is sensory urge incontinence. In motor urge incontinence, uh, various agents such as anticholinergics are effective. Like there can be, we can give oxybutynin hydrochloride, 5 milligram thrice daily, but it has side effects of anticholinergic drugs like dry mouth, constipation. Then we can use tolterodine, 10 to 30 milligram per oral BD, twice daily. Then we can give sulfinacin, um, 10 milligram OD, but it is contraindicated in case of heart disease patients or patient having chest pain. So these agents can be given for urge incontinence, or you can say motor urge incontinence, or you can say overactive bladder. अच्छा, अभी थोड़ा मैं एक बार इसको एग्जैक्ट स्लाइड सारी आई नहीं है ना यहाँ पर। अच्छा नहीं, 1 मिनट ना, इसको मेरे को यहाँ से निकालना। आ नहीं रही ना, लिखा हुआ है।